the Philadelphia Eagles may be without tight end Dallas Goedert for the next couple of weeks. They already got a plan in place, so we'll talk about what they plan to do. Also, they may have struck gold when it comes to a young wide receiver on their practice squad. We'll talk about how some of these defensive players have been raving about what he does on the scout team. And lastly, we're going to be talking about practice. Vic Fangio calls out Allen Iverson. So let's talk about it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is another episode of Philly the podcast. So like I said, I want to talk about some things today. We're going to talk about some things. So we're going to hop right into it, man. I want to start with Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert going to be hurt. Not going to be hurt. He is hurt again, unfortunately. I wanted to come into this video and be, kind of nice about it, but it's at this point, it's kind of like we're seeing him get hurt so much. You see the kind of tight ends that are starting to come into this draft. You see what you have in Pennsylvania alone, right? You got TJ Warren out there in the draft next year. It might be a long-term plan to start thinking about what we're going to do without a Dallas Goedert moving forward. I know a lot of people like Grant Calcaterra. He's been, kind of banged up as well in his career. Looked good, though. He's looked good this year, and he's done a lot for the Eagles. They have brought up CJ Uzmanzada. I hope I said that right. I think I actually did, which if I did, give me a like just for that. But I believe I got it right. Either way, they brought him up. They do not have any more elevations for a guy like EJ Jenkins. So what are you going to do? The Eagles, they signed a fullback. Does he move to tight end? I don't really know what the Eagles are going to do. Like I said, Grant Calcaterra has looked good in the time with the Eagles. So I do feel comfortable, especially this year. I feel comfortable with him as one of our guys, as he's more of a receiving tight end. And that's one thing you do have to kind of factor in. He's not going to bring you the blocking that a Dallas Goedert does, or even a Jack Stoll did. I'm not sure if he's still on the active roster. I should have looked that up. But either way, a guy like that, you do need somebody, and I'm assuming they're going to try and use CJ in that type of way. You're going to try and utilize him as a blocker. They utilize a lot of 2 offensive lines or extra offensive line sets where they had 6 offensive linemen out there for a run. Maybe they do that more often. Maybe they do end up using this fullback. I think that they'll figure it out. Like I said, I don't think Dallas Goedert's going to be out too long. Worst case scenario, you're looking like IR, because they did say IR, but he'll be back by the playoffs if that was to be happening. So that's worst case scenario. But even then, I think that you can kind of figure it out until the playoffs come. Once he's good for the playoffs, hopefully, then you just, full steam ahead for the rest of the season. But I do think it's more of a talking point for the rest. What are we going to do in the offseason? What are we going to do next year with a Dallas Goedert? What are we going to do with his position? You have to start thinking about that. I'm kind of surprised the Eagles didn't do something the past couple of years at the tight end position, knowing Dallas Goedert's kind of, health concerns, and I guess you could say, his injury concerns when it comes to the season. So we'll see what happens. He's been having a good year. He was a big part of this team. I feel like he's making big catches, right? Every time you see him out there, he had that touchdown last week. He's been looking good. So it's been fun to see him kind of back to his normal self, and then he has another injury. So this is now his second injury just this year. So we got to figure something out. You guys let me know. What do you think the Eagles should do when it comes to Dallas Goedert? Because I'm okay with just we're going to have to struggle bus it through this year at the end of the day, unless you're calling a guy like, Rob Gronkowski and saying, hey, come out of retirement. That's not going to happen. So you're going to struggle bus it this year. You're going to hope that he's healthy for the playoffs, and you go from there. But this offseason, I feel like it's got to be a priority. I know a lot of people want defensive ends. Me too. I do. You might want to look at that safety market, maybe look at another linebacker, but to me, you look at that wide receiver spot, and you look wide receiver 3, obviously, right? And you look at tight end spot, and I think those are 2 areas we've seen really hurt our offense. So you guys let me know what you're thinking, and we'll move from there. But it does bring me in nicely into, what I wanted to talk about next. Danny Gray of SMU. I remember him coming out of the college. He's 25 right now, I believe. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. Apparently, he's a very fast guy. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'll read it along with you guys. And this is what was said about him by Reed Blankenship and Darius Slay. Obviously, 2 big parts of this Eagles defense. Now, for context, obviously, he is on the practice squad, Danny Gray, and he is a guy that they which they allude to. He gives them looks on the scout team that is just basically primarily depending on what type of matchup they have. So if they have, you know, a fast guy, then they probably have him go in there. Like I said, they kind of allude to it. So let's just get right into that. So Darius Slay being the first one saying, oh man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to do it in his voice. Let me not, because he already blocked me on Twitter. That's not a good look. Danny Gray, man. A lot of guys do a great job, man. But I told Danny the first 2 weeks he got here, just watching him practice, I got a lot of respect for Danny because he don't take no plays off. Run plays, block plays, Danny has been amazing. Danny Gray has got me a lot better, more locked in. I'll always be locked in. He helped me a lot to get ready. It's like, you know, just give him the flowers. He had to say, I'll always be locked in though, but either way. So that's big. I mean, Darius Slay is a veteran in this league. He's seen good wide receivers. He's seen, you know, great players, good players become great players, young players, you know, blossom. So for him to see something in Danny Gray, that might say something. And then you have Reed Blankenship, who Reed Blankenship at the end of the day, I feel like is one of the most cognitive players on our team. I feel like he's one of the most just cerebral players on our team. But he said, damn, there's been a lot. I'd say Danny Gray. He plays if a team has a speed guy or anybody who has jets, he's the guy. Man, he's faster than what you'd think when you go against him. I feel like he's a very athletic guy who makes plays all over the field. Shout out to him. And he'll let you know when he makes a play. He's just one of those guys that I feel is making everyone better. So look, get your underdog masks out. I'm not saying he's going to be the next coming of nothing. I'm not going to say that because that's what always people want to look for. Like, oh, what happened to your boy Danny Gray? This is impressive, though, to have guys like that call you out, multiple guys on this defense who were the #1 defense in the league. Just wanted to throw that in there. But you have multiple guys and multiple key guys from this defense calling you out, saying that you're doing a great job, not only helping them, but they think that you have a future. So he's a guy, we'll make it short, sweet, you know what I'm saying? Definitely look out for him. Go back and watch the SMU film. You definitely saw that speed. I mean, he is definitely a fast guy, a burner, got good size on him. So I kind of see what they're saying. It's nice to see that they're being able to kind of show it in that practice squad and that he's getting noticed. So you guys let me know. Do you think he can maybe be that next guy? Now, lastly, I do want to talk about Vic Fangio. Maybe an ode to Allen Iverson or maybe a shot. Not really sure. Or maybe he just brought him up and maybe I'm just in my, you know, reporter bag and want to stir up controversy. Either way, I thought it was a really, really funny quote. I wanted to end the video on this. I love what Vic Fangio does with this team. He's hard-nosed, right? We all know that. He's going to coach this team hard. He's going to make them work hard. And one of those things that suck about any practice or suck about any job is practicing, right? We all know Allen Iverson's stance on practice. So I wanted to bring up this, mainly talking about younger guys, talking about guys like Jaylx Hunt, who has now shown out with the snap increase that he saw once BG went down. So I wanted to read this. This is from John Clark and obviously Vic Fangio talking about basically the process of practice. So if you're Allen Iverson, just close your ears real quick. He said it's a process. The more you practice, the more you play, you get better. In spite of what Allen Iverson ever said. Some guys, personnel guys around the league, they think, hey, this guy can just do it. Just throw him in. They expect the finished product. You never have the finished product with a young player until they get enough practice time and playing time. Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio believes his younger players, including Jaylx Hunt, have gotten a lot better and are growing from a good amount of practice time. I mean, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. You get these guys some reps, you get them comfortable in your system. And it's always kind of been said about Vic Fangio's system that it kind of takes a while for defenses to really get going in it because it's so complex. So it makes sense. They did it with Cooper DeJean. They didn't feel like he was ready week 1. They took time on him. We were all kind of banging the table for him. But as soon as he came in, it was flawless, right? He's looked amazing. And I'm not going to say that's going to be like that for every player. I'm not going to say every player is just going to come in after a couple of weeks and get it. But you see the confidence that they build and they're able to make mistakes on the fly and it doesn't bring them down as much as it maybe would if it's compounded, right? You're not making as many mistakes because you have that time. You're able to see that film. You're able to see how everything plays out, where players are going to be. So I respect it, man. I love what Vic Fangio brings to this team. I love what this coaching staff is right now. Like I'm cool that Kellen Moore just doesn't really say much. Like he just chills. He's like, he knows he's from Dallas, and we like tolerating you right now. You know what I'm saying? Give us a couple years and maybe we'll like you. But I feel like we're all just kind of tolerating him right now. So I'm cool with him just, you know, be in the background, do your thing. You're doing all right. We're not going to really talk to you. You don't really talk to us too much, and we're good. You know what I'm saying? You stay over there, we stay over there. But either way, I like what this coaching staff is. Nick Sirianni's my guy. I'm the head of the bandwagon, so if you want to hop back on, just let me know. But other than that, you guys let me know what y'all thinking about this team, about what we spoke about, and just how y'all feeling in general, man. I missed y'all. But it's Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace!
Everywhere. This is for you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jaylx this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.